Talk about the component of exercise in terms of life without an Omentum. And the first thing I want to clarify is exercise is an E word, so it goes really nicely with all our other E words today. But what I really mean to hit home with everybody is I mean movement daily, not necessarily exercise. Coming from the fitness world, exercise to me is going to mean something very different as a personal trainer than an average person, than you, or anybody in your household. So kind of an asterisk is to move daily, move frequently, and move often. So it was really interesting to hear earlier in the day about intermittent fasting and eating within certain times. Kind of the flip side of that is moving frequently throughout your day. So I am going to confess that before COVID, I used to go to the gym for my hour in the morning, and that was my main source of exercise, and then kind of do a desk job. And if I was really lucky, I would get up and move during the day, which is not what I would recommend. I would recommend my new COVID routine, which is every hour, every 30 minutes to get up and go for a small walk, just move, stretch, just making sure you're moving all of your limbs, your legs, your arms, getting up and getting down, and not necessarily sitting for prolonged periods of time or laying for prolonged periods of time. This is going to help your blood flow, most certainly. It's going to keep, your joints moving as well. And most specifically, like we learned about this morning, since the Omentum is a moving organism, not that it moves itself, but it has these parts that can, send cells in one direction or move them to another direction. Living without one, it's going to kind of put the onus on a person that you have to do physical movement and use gravity and use physics in order to get everybody to wherever they need to go. So moving daily, not exercising daily. Okay, so what are the things that you can do? So what are the tools you can do this afternoon, this evening, here on out? So the number one form of exercise, and I'm telling you this as a very biased personal trainer, there is a secret exercise out there. It is the best exercise, in my opinion, my professional and my personal opinion. And the good news is, it's walking. It requires no money. It requires no gym or special training, I guess, unless you're a little kid. But walking is the number one form of exercise everybody should do. And it's for a few reasons. One, it definitely gets everything flowing, everything moving. Two, you're less likely to get injured when you're walking, as opposed to we hear runners get quote unquote runner injuries, which is why they have their own category frequently. So I tell my clients all the time, just skip the running unless it's like your thing and just walk. It gets your heart rate up. It engages your core, obviously uses your legs, and just is an overall excellent form of exercise. And walking it's social friendly. So you could do it with a friend, where I don't know about all of you, but when I run, I have zero desire to have a conversation with someone. So you can use walking to engage other people, in your life or into your movement routine. The next one is yoga. And I have this nice picture of this lady sitting cross-legged, which is an excellent choice of position. But what's really nice about yoga, and I don't necessarily mean attending a yoga class, although if that's your thing, by all means go for it. But finding a few yoga poses that you like, that you can incorporate for a minute, a few times a day into your life, and really utilizing them. One really nice thing about yoga is one, it's been around forever, right? So like things that have been around forever aren't totally new and not studied. We know that it has certainly physical benefits and mental benefits to it. It gives us an opportunity and an outline, put our head below our stomach, our pelvis, or our heart. So it chooses to have your, blood flow, and obviously it's still flowing in the same direction in your body, but against gravity in different ways. Um, and it's just a really nice way to kind of decompress and do that check-in with your body or with your mood that we were talking about in the previous presentation. Um, Two kind of poses I would recommend if you're familiar with them, or you could certainly Google them. One is a child's pose, which is a very gentle way of putting your head below your heart. And then the other one is called, I don't even know what the Sanskrit name is, but legs up the wall. And it's essentially you lay on the floor and you put your legs up against a wall, and you just really sit there until you've had enough. There's no magic amount of time. I would do it for maybe at least a minute, but if you can read there or send your text messages or check an email or something, by all means, it's definitely an opportunity to put your legs above your heart, which obviously probably doesn't happen unless you're like a handstand guru throughout your day, without having to learn how to do a handstand necessarily. And then kind of my final point is, if, walking and yoga aren't your thing, and maybe, you're really suffering from these symptoms, or you just really feel unwell that day, housework totally counts as movement. Doing laundry, cleaning, mopping, doing dishes, just getting up and doing an activity, moving from your kitchen that might be downstairs to your, bedroom upstairs to fold a load of laundry is absolutely movement that can be incorporated. So a lot of times there's this notion in the exercise world that like people say, well, I'm going to start my new routine tomorrow and I'm going to start exercising tomorrow. And, that really often falls flat, I find, as a personal trainer. And it's really unfortunate because exercise isn't a punishment, but instead an opportunity. So if that means you go upstairs and go downstairs 2 more times than you did yesterday, then that's 2 more times you moved in your day than you did yesterday, and that's perfect. So exercise doesn't have to be this gym or class or sitting on your laptop doing kind of an organized activity. It can most certainly be just normal things throughout your day. And once you start doing them, we know that the laws of physics work, right? Bodies in motion tend to stay in motion. If you're up and you do laundry, and then you can fit a few dishes in, great. That's a perfect amount of movement throughout that day. And it's certainly an accomplishment. So the final kind of thing I want to leave you with today, before we get into any questions and then certainly into lunch, is that this metaphor that I absolutely love, and I'll be honest, I stole it from a traditional Chinese medicine doctor that I was reading about and following. And they were talking about kind of our lymph system in general. And they said, you can think of your lymph system as a pond or a stream. And obviously looking at these 2 pictures, there's one I know I would rather drink from and one I would not like to drink from necessarily. And so just a small amount of movement in that pond to the left would make it clean up a little bit and look like the stream to the right. And the stream to the right isn't, this like giant flowing river that's super strong and is trying to get somewhere, but simply just has a small amount of movement and current in it in order to keep things flowing and things fresh. So if you think of your lymph system the same way, or maybe your life without an omentum the same way, it might not feel great and you might not feel well, but just sitting stagnantly or not having great posture like we talked about earlier, can definitely easily lead to this kind of stagnant pond, as opposed to just getting up and, doing one lap around the house or walking down to the end of your driveway to grab the mail can be just enough for that stream effect to just get things moving in order to feel just a little bit better.